Now that you've already watched the statistical indices lesson, we're going to do a few of the homework questions. So we're taking a look at the sheet, specifically number 1, number 2, and possibly number 4. Number 1, what is this price index measuring? So here is the same chart from the lesson. As you can see, the base year is 1997. It is not 1990. I can see the base year here, 100 lines up with 1997, and that this index is actually measuring the farm product price. Okay. For B, what is the base year for the index? Again, this is 1997. And then we're going to start estimating index values. Here we're being asked to estimate for the value 1994. So I take a look at 1994, run that up from the x-axis, and I can see that it's approximately about 85. You can write 85 if no unit is written. I guess I forgot to highlight in this homework sheet, this is actually $85. But if no value is indicated, no unit is indicated, you can just simply list it as without a unit. If I were to look at the second part, C, double I for 2002, I can see that it's probably hitting around $105. Let's take a look at question 2. So for each price, calculate the percent price increase from the base value of 124. Round each answer to the nearest percent. For this question, what I want to do is find how much it's increasing from the base year, or the base value that's being used as a reference. In this case, we're looking at 124. I want to do a, let's see, I'm going to use the term calculate it versus the base. A little tough to do fractions and math in here. So base value, and then I want to subtract that from 100, or rather 1. So remember that when we're talking about percentages, if we're talking about index values, 1 is basically equal to 100%. Okay. So for number 2, I'm going to do 186, right? And I'm going to write that as a fraction. And I'm going to divide it by the base value, which I can see in the question is 124. And then I need to remember to subtract 1 at the end. And so if I do that, 186, let's see, 186 divided by 124, it's going to be 1.5. So my answer here is actually 1.5 minus 1. Why do I minus 1? Well, I want to see how much it increased by. If I leave it as 1.5, that means I'm saying that the price increased by 150%. It did not increase by 150%. It increased from the base value, which is considered 100%, and it went up to 150. So my final answer is that it is 50%. I can write this in a full sentence as, from the base value of 124, let's see, the percent price increase is 50%. Other questions that you might come across that are pretty important, I'd say, is number 4. So in number 4, the world map of happiness is based on a subjective well-being, SWB, index. The greater the value, the happier the population. Order the top 10 happiest countries shown on the right from most to least happy. So let's see if I can, nope, I can't seem to blow that up. That's okay. Here I'm looking at this index, and you might be wondering, why is there no 100? Well, there's no 100 because we're only seeing a portion of this index. 100 is somewhere far below. These are countries aren't quite as happy according to this world map of happiness. So we're just looking at the top 10 ranking. Austria, Bahamas, Bhutan, Brunei, Canada, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Sweden, and Switzerland. If we're looking at most to least happy, we're going to look for the highest value. So in this case, it looks like 273, 270, there's 2 countries, Switzerland and Denmark. So let's type Switzerland and Denmark. And then what would be next? Let's see. 273, the next highest number would be 260, Austria and Iceland both at 260. So let's write Austria and Iceland at 260. And then Sweden. So here's Sweden and Finland and Bahamas. Sweden, Finland, and Bahamas. And then what do we have left? We've got 2 countries left. Would be Bhutan and Brunei. Bhutan and Brunei, which is adjacent to Malaysia in Borneo. So there you have it, number 4. All I'm doing is I'm ranking. I can talk about these relative to each other. I can say that Switzerland and Denmark has a higher index than Austria and Iceland. I can reference Bhutan being lower than Sweden, Finland, and Bahamas. And like number 2, we can also do calculations as well. Do remember that on your worksheet for, let's see, for number 5, this is a great practice question. Number 5, you will have to reference the chart that is on the HyperDoc for statistical literacy. I'm just going to blow that up a little bit. You will be using that to answer this question. Again, base year is not by the origin. It is not 1989. It is, in this case, 2002. We're here. There is also a chart on the left-hand side, which will make it a little bit easier to read it. Okay. So, whoops. There you have it. You can always scroll down to the bottom of your sheet. You do have an answer key as well. Good luck and send me an email if you feel like you have any other questions.